This is a documentary review on An Inconvenient Truth. A former presidential candidate who advocates for climate change, global warming. Is this a factually sound lecture or perhaps a part of an elaborated political propaganda program? With the rising threat of the global warming and climate change, the issue has received widespread media coverage. As a matter of controversy and skeptic, media portrayal has been diverse and polarized about the issue. Al Gore, the former presidential candidate of America, has shared his perspective and concerns about the matter through the documentary An Inconvenient Truth, debuted in 2006. It talks about the consequences of climate change and what we can actually do to stop the rise in the threat of it. Though a matter that is actually highly controversial, Al Gore was able to be subjective, neutral, and provided sound, factual, accurate information on the pressing issue. His documentary was in perfect balance between informative and engaging. The documentary was unique and interesting because it wasn't just a boring 90-minute lecture on climate change. It also portrayed Al Gore's lives, efforts, and accomplishments to advocate for a greener environment. The audience not only connected to Al Gore as a person, but also connected to his philosophy and ideology on the issue. The toughest challenge for any documentary, especially for scientific presentations, is avoid being too boring, tedious, and dry. Most documentaries fall into the mistakes of listing too many facts, information, and data, and losing their audience engagement in the process. Al Gore was able to be informative, yet maintaining the audience attention by his personal anecdotes, jokes, and stories. What was great about the documentary is its informative factor and its engaging elements. Al Gore used countless graphs, data, charts, illustrations to prove the consequences of climate change. Al Gore also used funny, humoristic, cartoon, and political satire to illustrate the problem of climate change with an engaging and humoristic spirit. Al Gore also used countless jokes, humoristics, and comedian effects to captivate his audience attention. The documentary is a bit lengthy with too much information. Some details were irrelevant or supposed to have little significance to the contribution of his argument. Some of those instances were when he was mentioning about his son's car accident, or when he was mentioning about how his sister's death was caused by lung cancer. While those instances do provoke a sense of empathy and grievance for the audience, it was loosely related to his arguments and felt out of place. So, should you watch it? Well, it depends. If you're someone who has no knowledge of climate change, a definite yes, you will learn so much. If you're someone who wants to learn more about climate change, a definite yes. Even if you know already so much, there's still so many more things to learn. If you're someone who is skeptic of climate change, a definite yes. The presentation might be able to change your perspective on climate change. And if you're someone who wants to know more about the politics of climate change, sure, why not? Not only does he talk about climate change, he also talks about the policies that he made to push and advocate for climate change. Overall, great documentary, regardless of your stance on climate change. Informative, educational, didactic, enlightening, yet still maintaining the humoristic, provocative, profound, and emotional spirit. You will be on a roller coaster of emotions and pick up some knowledge on the ride. Overall, I would rate it a 4.5 out of 5 because it can be a bit too long and boring. After all, it is a 90-minute lecture on science. Who wants to listen to that much of science after all?